And that is it, dry. I love how it turned out. It's so glittery. I don't know if the camera... Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now if you watched my last video I showed you how I coloured these leaves. I've put the camera quite far back because I want to share my sort of thinking process around picking colours and whatnot, and I'll pick all the colours and then bring you in, hello Rolla, a little bit further. But that's just done with alcohol markers and pencils, and I've just put my very first layer down of pencil. Oh, and I did his scarf. I did that last night. Really enjoyed colouring that scarf. I love these illustrations. I might have to get some more of the cutesy ones. I'm really enjoying colouring this one. Now, my idea is DestressInk for the background, and then I'll show you how I do the water trick as well. Now I have to let that fully dry before I go on to our next step, which is this. Now, I just spotted, because I keep these in this drawer, so they're just my blenders, and I spotted all of my Spectrum Noir stuff, as well as my Jane Davenport mermaid markers, I think these are called. So I want to add some sparkle to this page as well. So first of all, the colours of the DestressInks. I do keep mine in this acrylic case. I got this, it must be going on more than 10 years ago now. I originally had makeup stored in it. Got it from a shop in the Trafford Centre. I cannot remember the name of the shop. But it's going to be hard to show you without everything. But, oh, so they're just about there without the glare. I can see all the colours underneath. So I'll pick out a few that I might want to use. I might not use all these. Black there as well. Whoops. I've had these DestressInks for years and they're still going. They're still going. So even though they are on the pricier side, these things, but I think they're well worth it because they do last. Maybe a touch of green here and there. That'll be the last one. That'll be the last one. So I'll pop these back now. If I don't stay organised, I feel like I'm chaotic, so I have to keep everything in order. So the possibilities of the colours that I'll use for all of this. Now the good thing is with this is I don't have to bother with tape and stuff around the edges, because when it's in a colouring book you do have to tape the edges so it doesn't get on the other page. Now with this I've got a cutting mat glass board thing. I'll probably just take this and put it straight on there, and then I can work on the corners as well. Make the corners the darkest, I think, because if I make the inside dark, I'm going to be faffing and worrying about getting it on the illustration. So if I do it the other way around, that should bypass that problem. So for my Spectrum Noir ones, now I've got a mixture. So I've got some in the pen form and some in these containers. Just make sure the lid's fully on there. And you can see all the glitter there. And there's a ball inside, so you do have to give it a good shake. But basically, this is what's in the pens. Now I don't prefer one over the other, because these are a really fine tip. But I've found with these, sometimes when you squeeze them, they're not very predictable and they'll just go all over your page. Even like just opening it up, I'm getting it on my hands. So I do sort of lean towards the pots more, because I could use a tiny little brush like this to get into really small details, or if I want to do a large area, just use a larger brush. But I've not got as many colours to pick from, so I think that one will be ideal, and then possibly the green, and then we'll just pick. See, I think this one's had a bit of an explosion. Carefully open this. yeah, I can see that it's leaking. So why are you not opening? Oh, yeah, everywhere, everywhere. See, that's what I mean. And you can even see it in the barrel. The lighting's not brilliant today. Let me get my phone light. You can see in the barrel that's completely empty, so you would have to tip it the right way and keep squeezing it until it was the right consistency. And sometimes when you're squeezing it on a scrap piece of paper, you waste so much ink. So yeah, that's another reason that I just think that the pots are probably a little bit better. And if you don't like getting messy, you will not like these things. So I think, to play it safe, we'll go with the mushroom, because then if I have an accident with that one, then it's a lighter colour. So that's what we'll go with. So I'll get my mat out and get everything situated, and go and wash my hands as well, because I don't want to risk touching the page, and then bring you down and get started. I just had to quickly add this. I think Rollo is a fan of the new rug. I only just got it yesterday. Rollo? Rollo? So this, I nearly called it a chopping board then, a chopping mat, cutting mat, was one of them purchases that I got when I first started getting back into art. It's like, I have to have everything, I have to have everything. And sometimes I think, God, you know, I have wasted money on things that I've not used all that often. But this thing, it gets pulled out more often than I realise, and it is really handy, really handy. It is a bit dirty and I need to give it a good clean, but I did just wash my hands and them inks stain so badly even when you've just touched them. I did just have the light on when I was filming, well, it might not be too bad now, but there's that glare. So if I put that there, let me move this over. Oh no. That should be okay. I'm still suffering as well, so if I'm sniffling, I do apologise. I'll try and edit as much as I can out. So these are the blenders that I use. These are the ones that I used to use. The really dense ones, but I found some better ones actually. And it's these ones, they're a bit more sparser. These need a good clean as well, to be honest with you. I need to just gut this room and give it a good clean. That one should be okay. And then that one, that'll do. I've just filled up my water bottle as well. This is just a cheap, well, like a hairdresser water bottle that I got from the pound shop. And it is fantastic for doing this sort of technique. I've tried different water bottles, I've tried misters, and for some reason this one is the best. I don't like, do you know when I do the, let's say I'm painting a galaxy and I'm using acrylic paint to create stars, I will use, I've not got it to hand, that's sod's law, but I'll use a brush and then flick the paint on like that. I don't like doing that, I don't like using a paintbrush, it has to be this bottle specifically. Right, I'm just testing. It's clean-ish, it's clean-ish. So we'll start off with the lightest colours, and now I'm thinking I probably should have chose like a creamy shade, so bear with me while I find one. There's not one in there. These were organised in colour, but then you use them, and then antique linen. That will do just fine. So we're storing them upside down as well. It keeps the ink pad really nice and juicy. That's what I've found. Some of these might be on the way out. Oh, that's alright. Let me just see. I've never actually tried picking it up on there before. It still feels wet. Just making sure I'm fully loading it. Just going around in circular motions. Yeah, it is picking it up. And let's just start. So medium to high pressure. My table's at it again. I think I need to put some cardboard underneath one of the legs. Now I've chosen this colour because it's the most similar to what I've done, the fox. I do read your comments as well, and I know I'm terrible for replying. Somebody commented, was it a squirrel? I can't remember who it was. My memory since being ill, I can barely remember what I had to eat last night for my tea. Yeah, somebody mentioned, was it a squirrel? Which I don't know, to be honest, because of the acorns. But I'm just doing it as a fox because I don't know, and I think it's a cute fox. So that's what it is. That's what it's going to be, a fox. So I'm doing this all around the illustration, and then I don't really have to go in with any of these really dark colours and risk going over any of the leaves that I've already done, and I'm quite happy with these. I do think I might have to invest in a couple of lighter shades. I've not bought any new ink tints, Distress Ink. I always get the two mixed up in a long time, and I know that there's a couple of new shades that I would love. I think there's one called Eggshell. That's the colour of my walls in this room. So surely I should get that one. Yeah, I think this one is being close to being, you know, having its day. I've never tried any of the other ones as well. I know that there's, is it Distressing? Is it Oxide? I've not tried any of them. I would like to. I'll have to have a little look on Amazon and treat myself while I've been ill. Why not? It's my birthday in November, so I need to go through all my colouring stuff and see what I need replacing, because you use things up. Not necessarily new things to me, just things that I've used up. Alcohol markers being one of the main ones. So we'll see how we go with that. I'm going to pop a little bit of this mustard seed. I'm going to stick with the same brush, and then when I'm going on to the greens I'll switch to the other one. Oh, so this one is a lot more juicer. I'm not going to put this everywhere. I want this to be really random where I'm putting all these different colours now. So you can see the difference of how pigmented that is compared to the last one. So yeah, I need to invest in a couple more shades and replace the ones that are drying out on me. And there is a tiny little bit there, so if I can be careful. I have got, let me try these. I saw these on Colouring Chat with Sammy's channel a long time ago, and I thought they were such a good idea, but I've never got on with them. But for little areas like this, they are ideal. And I should use them more often. There's some down here as well. But I'm going to have to pause the video in a minute because I need to blow my nose. That's better. So a little bit more. Go at the top here. And I know this looks really bright, just taking a step back then for a second. I was looking at it thinking that might be a little bit too bright, but the plan was to go over it with darker shades. So we've got Spice Marmalade and Wild Honey, and I think I'm going to go with Wild Honey because it's a little bit darker. Especially when we're just saying I don't want it really bright. So you can probably tell by my table banging how much of a hard pressure I am using. Just trying to blend that out as best as I can. Is it that? I just moved things around in my room and I think it was doing it the other day actually. Yeah, it's that acrylic where I keep these inks. It's tapping against the wall. Not a lot I can do about that. So constantly circular motions. Oh, I'm gonna blend that bit out. It was a little bit heavy-handed at the top there. So, I've got a wet rag here. I'm just going to take some of this excess off. Just try and blend that out a little bit better without going on to the illustration. Right, so my greens, switch brushes now. This is Bundled Sage. You know what, I should have pulled out a red. I don't know if that's too many colours going on though. I'm trying to start off on the outside and then pull the colour in. Yeah, this one is a little bit dry as well. It's a lot better doing this on a PDF though, it's giving me more freedom. Like if you was working in a colouring book, you really do have to be careful that you don't get it on the page next to it or the page behind it, and then you're dealing with the spine as well of the book. Right, so let's switch over to that darker green now. Forest Moss. Got a funny feeling this is going to be mega dark. Oh, I like that one. It's really juicy, that one. So you see how far I'm managing to pull that out. Perfect. I've just realised as well, this cutting mat is the same brand as these, the Tim Holtz. Right, so this is what I wanted. So for the edge to be a lot darker. This is perfect. If I don't say so myself. Because the darker it is as well, the more the water effect will show up. Let's pick some of that ink up. And then we've got some of the black and brown to use as well. Let's go on this very top bit. I will say though, using high pressure all this time, my hand's aching a little bit, but we're nearly there. It almost looks like it's highlighted in the middle, like if you imagine a light was shooting down, aiming down. So I think we'll pop a little bit of this brown on as well, Gathered Twigs. This one's nice and juicy as well. Oh, I'm really pleased so far how it's turning out. We've not even used the water. So I think we'll switch to black now, the last colour. So I've more or less, apart from one, I've used all the colours that I picked out in the end. This one is really, really juicy. I think the black, it doesn't matter what page I'm doing, it just makes me feel like it's giving an antique look. Does anybody else think that? Or like the browns and the blacks, like have you ever done the tea bag method when you salt paper in water that's got a tea bag in it? So I think the very last thing, yeah, I'm going to add a tan, a little bit more of the wild honey. Right, I'll have to use this brush just in a couple of areas. Just trying to be brave and pull it in a little bit further. I think that's as brave as I want to be. So, the water effect next. Right, I don't know if I said it before, but I will have to let this completely dry, and I don't want to use the heat gun because number one, I need to do something else, and number two, it might make the page buckle, and I want to keep it as flat as possible. I mean, I could iron it, but actually first, so I don't make a complete and utter mess everywhere, let me just clean this board. It's a bit wet to the touch, so I'm going to get my watercolour cloth, just give it a little dry, chucking everything everywhere. I hope that lid doesn't come off. No, accident averted. So, now that it's ready for the water, I do need this cloth back. Now this is just such an old, dirty, stained cloth. Believe it or not, that is clean. They just, because they've been used for so many years at this point, and I begrudge buying new cloths just for the same thing. Right, the water bottle. Now, I've said this before, and I'm terrible at trying to explain how far away I'm going to hold this, and I think last time I used my phone as a reference. I've not got the tape measure up here. So, and I've already dropped some water right there, so that can stay there. So one, two, I'd say 2 minute bit iPhones. That's how far my camera is away, and this is how far I'm going to hold the water away. I'm going to turn the light off. I need to move the light out of the way, and let's just start. So, oh, I'll show you on the cloth first. So I'm not spraying like this. That's too much. You just want to tap it. Just tap it like it's drizzling outside. That's all you need to do. Make sure I've got the clean side now. So holding it, 2 and a bit iPhones away, and spray. Just tapping. Right, I don't like leaving it too long. That should be enough. And place your cloth down and do a rolling motion. Do not rub. Whatever you do not rub. You just want to take any of the excess water away. Make sure your cloth is dry, turn it round. Same thing again. Rolling motion, do not rub. So, now that's like that. I want to turn the light on because I want to check in case I've missed any spots. And the light will just help my eyes go to where it looks shiny, but that looks fine. I'm going to do a couple more. And do a couple more. Just leave that for a couple of seconds just to do its thing. You can see, like in real life I won't be able to zoom in enough, but you can literally see the ink being lifted. So let's do the rolling motion again. So it does get your page pretty wet, so you are better off just leaving it to air dry if you can. Now what I normally do is I'll take it off this and then pop something in the middle just so it's got air going around it, and that'll dry a little bit quicker than leaving it on here. So I'm just checking for any more water. A tiny bit there. And the paper will be delicate at this point as well because the amount of water that I've just used. But you can see how lovely it bleeds through. So that's another thing, it's better to use it on PDFs. Now I know that looks really weird at the in the middle because it's not finished, but I wanted to get this video filmed and I wanted to get the background done, and I do think that this is going to take me at least a couple of hours to colour this guy. So I will pop this somewhere that I know it's going to dry a little bit quicker, and then I'll come back for the Spectrum Noir ink. So we're at the point now that it should be okay to pop on the ink. Now, I think what I'm going to do is go around the outside. Now it doesn't need to be a really tiny brush for this because I'll show you what I mean. So I did sort of show you earlier on how you activate these, but there is a little, I think it's a plastic or it could be metal bottle, so if you just shake it, circular motions, then back to back, just to get all that glitter from the bottom all mixed in. So I'll do that with this one as well before I start. Make sure the lid is shut. See how it's all stuck on there. And then the more you do this, it should release it. It's not wanting to do it on that corner. Come on. There you go. There we go, all gone now. So it's all mixed in. So pop my green there, and the more orangey shade here. And then just want to get this first because I want to test the pen. Just going to put it on that wet cloth. That would have not been a good idea. So that needs loading back up. So you just one squeeze and it fully loads it. So that should be okay. I'm not sure now whether I'm going to use that colour or not. But it's there in case I want it. Actually, I will start off with this shade. And what I want to do is add quite a bit, because I want to try and do what I would do with watercolour. So I've popped quite a bit on there, you can see. And I don't want to cover up too much of the DestressInk. I'm going to bring you in closer actually. There we go. So you can see that it does bleed into the lighter shade and then sort of does its own thing. Certain areas I'll put more and pull it down even closer. What I'm going to do just to make it a little bit more tidy is get a separate brush for the green. Fully load that and then let that bleed into that mushroom colour. And basically I want to do this all the way around. And then once it's fully dry I will come back and show you what it's like. So I want a lot in this corner up here. it's a good job I did use the board because this is going to get messy. So I'll load up again. And just let it move around. The only thing I'm a bit nervous about going on the board and then me putting the paper on it and then it bleeding through the opposite side. That's the only thing. Be a bit careful. You see it all on the board. Put some green on this time. Oh, I've just dipped into the orange. Luckily water will just get it off. But they are super pigmented. I don't want to go around the whole, look at that, the whole of the border. So that very top bit, just a tiny bit of this colour, just so it doesn't stop like a stark, is it called stark edge? Stark edge, but you can see how glittery that is. And then we'll do probably from about here to about here. So it's either of the corners, both corners done. Now this will take quite a while to dry, I think, with the amount of ink that I'm putting on. Mr. Washing Machine's shouting me. And then we want the green. Carefully. I'm going to have ink all over me. Right, let's go into the orange. We'll add a little bit of green as well, why not? And that's basically all I'm going to do for the glitter. And I promise you there's more there than it looks. I'm just going to let it completely dry, tidy up, and then come back with the final results. And that is it, dry. I love how it turned out, it's so glittery. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but you can really see the difference of the green and the orange. And then that mushroom colour, it's more just straight up silver. Yeah, it is, like a dark silver with a hint of black in it almost. But I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick up the difference of colours that I've used. But this will look better once the little fox / squirrel is complete as well. And what I might try and do is add some of the greens and reds, possibly even blacks, through his fur, so it goes a little bit better with the page. But I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that I explained it as best as I could and you got some tips from it anyway. But please do subscribe to my channel if you're new. I'm nearly at 9,000 subscribers. How did that even happen? And like this video, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.